Hello and welcome back to Thinking About Games. Today we're taking a look at Hero Realms from Wise Wizard Games. I've been in the alpha for a while and could not publicly talk about it, but now that the Kickstarter is starting soon and the NDA's been lifted, I can show it off to you guys. Please keep in mind that this is the alpha version. There are still some bugs, some unfinished features, features that are going to be cut, but I think since they're going on to Kickstarter, this is a reasonable expectation, a reasonable representation of what you might see. Having said all that, this game is amazing. Since I've gotten it, I have not enjoyed Star Realms as well because it's just so much worse in comparison. Um, so what makes it so much better? First of all, the developers have had feedback from seasoned Star Realms players throughout its development, so there's a lot of little quality of life features that we wish were in Star Realms, and we did get added to Hero Realms. Also, and this is the big one, there is now progression for online play. Playing more ranked games is not just giving you meaningless ranking points. It is now actually creating a character for you that you can level up and make better throughout. In the time that I've been in the alpha, I think I've played more online games of Hero Realms than I have of any other of Star Realms since. And yeah, I think I've played more games of Hero Realms online since I've than I've played ranked Star Realms games in the last year, which is not hard. I barely ever play ranked. So we have a number of characters we can have for online play, and I can always create more. They do not have a cap on the number of characters you can have yet. Each character has a different class. Each one has a separate level, and if you notice, they all have an XP value under them, and these characters level up independently of each other. When they level up, their deck gets better, and so do their abilities. So the starting cleric does not have the Bright Star Shield. That's an upgrade I got. They do not have this level of Blessing of Steel. So I believe with the default one, you're only getting one additional defense and maybe one or two more. Sorry. Yeah, I think one additional defense and maybe 3 health. I don't remember off the top of my head what the starting values are, but they do get better for sure. So let's get into the game and actually show some gameplay. Now, I'm not going to show online play. I think it's better to show off the pit fight mode, which is kind of a roguelike mode to this game. It pairs you up against an AI of the same level as you. If you win the game, your character gets leveled up and you play a new AI. If your character loses, they get deleted. No progression, just straight up deleted. All the classes are available. You can swap between the male and female portrait. And we do have an automatically generated character name. In the future, I will probably be picking out some better, funner names. And I would love some ideas in the comments. But for now, since I don't feel like typing on my iPad, we'll start with the default name Benny Warren for a fighter. And I do want to show off the fighter just because it's a very easy class to play, not much complexity about it, and I can demonstrate the core mechanics of the game well. And we are getting paired against a cleric to start off. So, the fighter's deck, like any Hero Realm starting deck, is going to have some gold, 1 ruby. Instead of the normal 1 and 2 damage starting weapons, we have a throwing axe which deals 2 damage, and if this makes the total damage we've done for the turn 7 or more, we get to draw a card, and we start off with a Longsword, which is 3 damage. We start off with our Shoulder Bash as our skill, which is once per turn we can pay 2 gold to do 2 more damage. And our ability at this point is Precision Blow, which deals 3 damage to a guard. If you're familiar with the Hero Realms printed game, you'll notice that this ability is much weaker than the one that you start the campaign with, or the one that comes in the boxed character set. Well, that's because technically that character is level 3 and we're starting at level 1. So we start off with a very weak ability. That's going to be something that we will level up over the course of the campaign, but for now, that's what we have. Our opponent is playing a cleric, so they have 2 champions in their starting deck, 2 followers, spiked mace, and their skill is Bless, which gives them a bit of health and makes their champions all tankier. And they have a Minor Resurrection, which lets them res a small champion. So we are going to be better off going aggressive, while they're probably going to want to build up a champion wall. With our starting hand, we got 2 gold in it. We can always use the 2 gold to get 2 damage with our Shoulder Bash, but that is not a good starting play, because though we're going aggressive, our opponent's just going to be able to scale ahead of us. So we can go for a Fire Gem, which is this game's equivalent of an Exploder, that gives us 2 trade and scrap for 3. We got a Prophet, which is a blue card, that's the Guild faction. That's 2 trade and 4 damage, which I feel is only really good if you do build heavy guild, or if you really want to buy more gold for 1. More realistic options, we got the Wolf Shaman, which is a nice card if we want to go for wild synergy, or we got the Tithe Priest, which gives us 1 trade, or we can use it to gain health for having a lot of champions out. So in terms of scaling cards, the Fire Gem and the Tithe Priest are probably going to be our best bets, because early trade is always good in every game. So thinking about what our opponent's deck is, where they want to have a lot of champions and going to be doing well with a lot of champions, going for the Tithe Priest makes sense just to deny our opponent it. And because their only starting damage is a spiked mace, which deals 2, while the Tithe Priest has 3 health. So it might be able to live for a few turns in the next shuffle. So that would be nice for us. So we'll buy the Priest, and we'll play out a Throwing Axe. Now, if you notice, in the upper left corner, we got an undo button, which is something that we've wanted in Star Realms for a while. If you've not gotten any new information since before your last play, you can just undo your last play. Let's deal the damage to our opponent and keep going. They are going to pick up the Bribe, which is a solid trade card, but without anything big to buy, it's not really building them towards anything. We can play out our Shield Bearer now. We have 3 gold to spend, so we still have Taxation as an option, which is going to synergize with our Priest, but is otherwise a kind of mediocre card in my opinion, because yes, it's 2 trade and 6 health, but if you're familiar with Hero Realms, it is much more aggressive and much quicker. Having just 6, that 6 life is not going to serve us a long time, and the slowdown from that is not worth it for me, in my opinion. I think Taxation can be a good card if you have a lot of other yellow cards because that can help you build up a very big life lead to destroy your opponents. But with 3 gold, we got the Taxation and the Prophet, which, as I said, I don't think are very solid cards unless you have a lot of faction synergy. We still have the Fire Gem and the Wolf Shaman, and we now have a Cult Priest in the trade row. That is a decent champion. It's 4 defense, gives us 1 combat or 1 trade, and synergizes and allies with Cult for 4 damage. Just because our opponent did play very passively by going for big trade, getting the Cult Priest seems like a good idea, unless they find some way to get a lot of combat very fast. They're not going to be able to go through our Cult Priest or our Tithe Priest, and the Cult Priest is going to be decent damage going forward, and or it's more champions for our Tithe Priest to get us health off of. And again, denying our opponent champions is good because they just do so much better with champions. So any good-ish champion is worth getting for us just to reduce the number of them available on the market. And our big sword lets us easily smash up the follower. Okay, they got a pretty good card with Rayla the Endweaver. That is some really nice combat. But still, it's not going to be enough to, say, kill our Cult Priest all on its own. It's barely enough to take out our Shield Bearer. Yeah, it's only 3 combat, so it can barely take out our Shield Bearer. And as I'm sure you've noticed, the combat values in this game are much higher. We've had the Tyrannor the Devourer come out to the market. He is a pretty good sacrifice card in this game. Sacrifice being the equivalent of Scrap in Star Realms. And yeah, he is no Blob World, but they're never going to print another Blob World in any game, I hope. And it is much weaker than equivalent Star Realms cards, but it's a different game. If we could get that, that would be quite sweet, but our odds of getting it are not the highest, just because we have not gotten for those single big splash of trade cards. Our opponent does have some chance at it with their bribe, but they would have to draw. No, they can't get it no matter. Yeah, they could theoretically get it with their bribes, taxations, and prayer beads, but it's not the likeliest buy. So we're fine so far. We can get another Cult Priest maybe this turn. We play our Cult Priest out. Let's think about what we do want. We can go up to 4, 5 with a Cult Priest. I think getting another Cult Priest might be good, just because they're serving us well, and they will synergize with Rayla the Endweaver and the Tyrannor if our opponent can get that. So let's get the Priest. And now we can get up to 2 more trade or a trade and a combat off the Cult Priest. I think going for a 1 gold buy is not worth it. So for 2 gold, we can get the Wolf Shaman, which is acceptable. Or we can get the Elven Gift, which is decent gold and lets us go through our deck quicker, which is a fun thing to have. It will also synergize well if we can get other green wildcards, such as the Wolf Shaman. So that's tempting. Going for like a Fire Gem or going for our Shoulder Bash is also an option, but I like the Elven Gift. Maybe a little bit too much, but if you can get that and some other wild cards in your deck, you can really build up a lot of damage very fast, and the Elven Gift lets you find those cards well. So let's grab that, especially because we have not had a chance to thin our deck, so being able to go through our starting gold quickly is good. So let's get that. Once again, smack up the follower, and keep going. Okay, they buffed their follower, and they got... Oh, they got another Elven Gift. I guess the Elven Gift was replaced by an Elven Gift. How convenient. Now we got an Orc Grunt in play, which works well with other wild cards, obviously. It lets you draw a card. So that's a tempting buy. We can get an Wolf Shaman Orc Grunt if we use both our Tithe Priest and our Cult Priest for buying. We do have the Throwing Axe here, which if we can get up to 7 combat would be nice, but that will let us draw a gold. So I don't think we do have a way to get up to 7 combat. Let's see if you would give you 7 or more combat, and the precision blow just deals damage. So I don't see a way for us to even get up to 7 combat, and if we're investing that much in combat, it's not worth it for just drawing another gold. So let's go for my heavy wild plan. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of focus, but I think just a pile of good cards can be amazingly well in this game. There is also the hit job, which is just a whole hell of a bunch of combat, which might be tempting, but I like my wall of champs with wild plan. So let's get our Orc Grunt. We got an Elven Curse, even more towards us going wild. That is fairly solid combat, plus gets us discard, which is, if you go a lot of wild cards, going to give you discard, but we cannot afford it yet. So let's get our Wolf Shaman, defeat the follower, and keep going. Okay, they did get a bit of... They got their combat off their Rayla, and plus it has one... If you notice, Rayla has another extra defense off of Bless. Graphical bug, that does nothing so far, but if you look in the UI, it has 5 health. But now that we have 2 Cult Priests out, they activate each other's ally abilities, and give us 4 combat apiece, which gives us 8 total combat, enough to kill Rayla. Looking over what we have, we can go up to as high as 7 trade. If we're giving up on 3 life off of the Tithe Priest, which, if you notice, our opponent gets 3 life every time they use their Bless ability, so 3 life is not much. 2 combat off the Cult Priests is, again, not the biggest number. 2 trade for 2 combat with Shoulder Bash is only good when we're going for a kind of aggressive thing, and so far we have not been aggressive at all. We're still at 55-55. With aggressive games of Hero Realms, we could easily be down to like 20 or 30 health by now. But with 7 trade, we can get both the Elven Curse and the Hit Job, both of which are going to really get us towards that aggressive plan, which I want to have, especially with a Warrior. So, yeah, let's start with that. So, let's grab the Elven Curse to build towards our Wild synergy, just because, 1, it's cheaper, and 2, the extra damage is not as good as a discard for us. If we had a lot of blue cards that stun a champion, on a hit job would be amazing, but let's start with the Elven Curse. Okay, we got some new options now. We could go for the Death Threat, which is 1 combat and draw a card, but I think having to spend 1 last gold, but gaining only 1 combat and draw is not as good as just getting the pure 7 combat off hit job. So let's use all of our champs to get that trade. And by the way, we now have an actual tangible benefit we could have gotten. If we'd gone for Death Threat instead of hit job, we could have gotten 1 damage off of the Cult Priest or 3 health off of the Tithe Priest, which, as I said, does not really tempt me that much. Let's just get our hit job, kill their champ, and deal them 3. Okay, they are getting a fair amount of... Okay. They are back up to 60 health, and as you can see, it's very easy to go up in health, or down in health, as you will hopefully also see. We do have a Death Touch now in the trade row, which is a decent card for deck thinning, but 2 combat is not much in the Hero Realms grand scheme of things, so it's a bit late for the Death Touch. We got a Browlin the Lore Weaver, which is a great early game card, and even at this point in the game, it might be a little bit tempting for us because of the fact that it is 6 health and has a discard ability as its ally, but I'm not so sure about that. So, because we still have both Cult Priests, we do have 8 trade. So let's use our 8 combat. So let's use our Throwing Axe to draw another card. Now we can use our Elven Gift. Now that we've drawn as many cards as we can. So maybe we'll see what we will draw off it, which is going to be either the Orc Grunt or the coin. We draw a card. We did not get the Orc Grunt. So we can get, if we discard the Longsword or Wolf Shaman, we'll have 4 gold in our hand, 2 out with Elven Gift, and maybe 3 off of our champions, which would be more than enough for Tyrnor the Devourer. We can get Tyrnor even if we discard the gold. Get 3 off of champs, 3 in our hand, and 3 off the gift. Do I want Tyrnor? It is starting to get late in the game for sacrifice. Pay no attention to those health totals. They will very quickly melt, as you will see this turn, hopefully, because we already have 10 combat. We haven't played most of our hand yet. Yeah. Tyrnor is definitely what we want to get, just because this game is not going anywhere all that fast, so getting that sacrifice is going to be good. Play out our Wolf Shami, get 4 more damage off our gift. Gold, ruby, gets us up to 5. Get 3 more trade here. Get our Devourer. Play out a Longsword, gets up to 17 combat. Wolf Shaman gets up to 20 combat. We could kill one of them with our Precision Blow, but I don't really see the point. I mean, maybe it's just having Elixir Syndrome here, but using it to destroy a follower is a kind of a waste of our once per game ability, but they don't seem to be getting any other guards into their deck. Still, I think we can pop it for a follower at any time. got plenty of time for that. Let's just deliver that nice big blow. Okay, they got that Lore Weaver. And as you're hopefully noticing, we're still producing a ton of damage. Partially that's because the AI is being stupid and not focusing on killing our cult priests. But this game, if you cannot control your opponent's champions, or if your opponent can just get a lot of combat in their deck, it can go fast. So let's draw off our Orc Grunt. Let's see what we got. Okay. We actually have a fairly buy-heavy hand. We got 4 purchasing power in hand. For 5, we can get a Dire Wolf, which is solid guard, solid damage. For 2, we can get the intimidation, but I feel like we're already getting to the point in the game where we should pivot and start focusing on combat a little bit. Also, a Tithe Priest is going to get us 5 health, which is starting to get to be a reasonable value. So I think getting the Dire Wolf and seeing where we are from there might be a good place to be. So let's use the Cult Priest. Get the Dire Wolf. Smash and Grab is a solid card if you have good cards that you want to put back on top of your deck. But we can get 2 trade off of the Cult Priest and Tithe Priest and get an Intimidation for 5 more combat. But I think, as I started talking about a bit earlier, we're starting to get into the point of the game where we can just start melting our opponent. So I think just going for a bit more damage is worthwhile. If we do get the Intimidation, we'll be out 1 damage and 5 health. So that's going to be a straight 6 damage swing that we are giving up on, which is more than Intimidation will do on its first time through the deck. Plus, Intimidation is going to be just slowing us down a little bit, while we want to start thinning with our Tyrannar. So let's just go for aggression now. The Wolf Shaman is going to give us pretty good damage. Cult Priest gives us a bit. Yeah, if you notice, we're dealing 24 damage. That is almost half. That's more than half our opponent's current health. That's almost half of their starting health. Another turn like that, we will literally win the game. And our deck's just getting better and better now that we have some thinning in our deck and are pivoting towards aggression. And the AI is being an idiot and has nothing, really. Again, let's draw off of our Orc Grunt. Draw off our Throwing Axe. Use the Tyrannar to to scrap some junk. Draw off of the Tyrannar. Got the Elven Gift up to 25, and that is fatal already. By the way, just even without popping our Precision Blow, even without playing the Elven Gift, which is going to give us 4. Yeah, that's just going to be 4 damage. Our Wolf Shaman, which is going to be a bunch more damage. I don't feel like counting. Yeah, damage off Cult Priest. As you saw, 2 turns on a fed deck can 100 to 0 an opponent. So we win the game. Since we're playing in arena mode, we immediately level up. Online, we would take us a few games to get up to this point. Because we're still very low level, we can only level up our starting ability, going from a 3 damage to a guard precision blow to a 5 damage to a guard powerful blow. In the future, we would probably have choices here. And then the next game would be against a wizard. But at this point, I think I will call it. Thank you very much for watching. I'm thinking I will be doing more Hero Realms contents in the future because I think the pit fight mode is very fun and can have us have some fun videos about various character builds. So if you do or don't want to see more Hero Realms content, please put that in the comments. If you have naming ideas for future pit fighters, put that in the comments. If you think I misplayed, I'm always happy to get some feedback in the comments. If you just want to give me some algorithmic engagement, put something in the comments. Complain. Call me an idiot. Talk about how your day is. Feel free to put stuff in the comments, upvote, downvote. It really does help the YouTube algorithms. And yeah, that was everything. If you're watching this within a month of me posting it, Hero Realms is going to be on Kickstarter. I think it starts July 20th. So back it, because hopefully you'll see that this game is fun. I am not being paid to say that. I am not being paid at all by Wise Wizard Games. I am just really enjoying the game and hoping that the online community grows and stays healthy, because you kind of do need to have a healthy online community for the leveling up of the online play to work, because if you have all like high level characters, it does get a little bit annoying. But yeah, and there you see the ad for Hero Realms Digital fly by.